The town I lived in had always been perfect, untouched by the horrors that seemed to haunt other places. Nestled between rolling hills and fields of wildflowers, it was the kind of place where nothing ever went wrong. Until Mia disappeared. Mia and I had grown up together, inseparable since childhood. She was a writer, a storyteller in the truest sense. Every day she'd fill page after page with strange and beautiful worlds, the kind of stories that felt alive, that reached out and tugged at something deep inside you. She didn't just write stories, she lived them. But in the days before she vanished, the air began to change. The town felt wrong. It was subtle at first, like the faintest shift in the wind, but over time, the strange undercurrent grew impossible to ignore. People began to act differently. Whispers were all around the town, faces turning away. The streets were quieter. The once friendly faces in the cafe, the small-town smiles, seemed different. The strangest part was that Mia seemed to notice it first. She'd stop mid-conversation, her eyes flicking to the corners of rooms, as if she expected something, or someone, to be there. I tried to brush it off, chalking it up to her overactive imagination. After all, she was a writer, and she could sometimes get lost in her own mind. One afternoon, we were sitting in the park as we always did, the autumn breeze rustling the leaves around us. The air was heavy with a sweet, almost haunting scent. Lavender, I thought, though I couldn't place where it had come from. Mia looked off into the distance, her gaze far away. "Something weird is happening," she said suddenly, her voice low, as if the words had been on her mind for days. I frowned. "Yeah, I feel it too," I said. She glanced at me, her eyes dark and intense, more serious than I had ever seen her. "I'm not sure, but I feel like something bad is going to happen. Like something is going to happen to me." I laughed, trying to mask the growing unease in my chest. "You're being dramatic. This is just you overthinking. You've been writing too much." But Mia didn't smile. Her expression remained distant. "I think the story's already been written," she murmured, almost to herself. "And soon, we will all know how the story ends." The chill in her voice made me uneasy, but I didn't know how to respond. We sat in silence for a while, the scent of her lavender perfume still lingering faintly in the air. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, Mia stood abruptly. "I have to go, it's getting late." I hugged her and said, "See you tomorrow," and she just answered, "I hope," and left. That night, Mia vanished. Her apartment was empty when the police arrived, no sign of a struggle. The only thing left behind was the scent of her lavender perfume. They said it was nothing, just another missing person case, nothing to worry about in a town like ours. But a few days later, Mia was found dead. I was broken, I couldn't accept it, but there was nothing I can do now. She was gone. Mia's final words lingered in my mind, along with the look she had on her face when we talked.